Madam Rajavi, distinguished guests, members of the Iranian resistance, and those of you that are watching right now at Liberty and Ashraf, I am very humbled to be here on this solemn occasion. For the past decade, almost 10 years ago, and for me even before that, since the attacks on the Pentagon, I have attended so many memorials. And people would think I may get emotionally calloused to going to these, but that couldn't be further from reality. Everyone I go to gets harder and harder. And especially this one takes such an emotional toll because this memorial is exceptionally significant and heartbreaking to me because we promised them protection. But yet, they were murdered at the hands of the real terrorists, the al-Maliki regime. Many of you know that I was involved with the promise of protection of Camp Ashraf and the residents, and I believed in that promise. Unfortunately, we know now, and we have learned the hard way, you have learned the hard way, that was a hollow promise. It was just words. I didn't believe that at the time. I believed those words. But now, no, they were just words to convince the people of Ashraf, lay down your arms. Give over your safety and security to us. Place yourself at the hands of others. Trust us. And what did we do? You were abandoned into the hands of the Iranian puppet al-Maliki. Last year, I was once again involved with convincing the people of Ashraf. I listened, and I accompanied Ambassador Reese and several others as they came here to Paris and talked with Madame Rajavi and many of her leaders and implored them on behalf of the State Department to move from Ashraf to Camp Liberty. I have to tell you, I was very hesitant at that, but I believed them that you'll be protected, we'll make sure nothing happens to you, the United Nations will be there, and it's going to be a way station. You're going to go there, and then you're going to fly out someplace else. Well, we know how that promise went. You left a home of over 30 years and moved to a detention camp on the outskirts of Baghdad called Camp Liberty. Don't worry, you'll be safe. We're going to protect you. What a flashback to 2003, 2004 for me. The same words, exact same words were used with the leadership last year that were used back at Camp Ashraf in the headquarters building. Well, the leadership people at Ashraf trusted us, and what did you get? Suffering, unbearable torment at the hands of the Iraqi captors, your personal property pilfered, stolen, destroyed, your homes destroyed, even the martyr cemetery at Camp Ashraf vandalized. We watched as what was supposed to be a temporary refugee camp has become a death camp. I don't even use the word concentration camp anymore. Camp Liberty is a death camp. And to think the United Nations mission under Martin Kobler sanctioned a death camp knowingly. Martin Kobler, how do you live with yourself? You're obviously a puppet of the Mullah regime. You set the conditions for these murders to occur. And yet you refuse to even go to the scene of the atrocities. What do the Mullah's regime have on you? What do they hold over your head? I really wonder what you have done that's been so bad that you will sanction and be complicit in premeditated murders of people espousing freedom. Not only should you have raced to the scene of the crime, you should have been there all along. You should have been living inside of Camp Liberty, ensuring the residents' protection. Many of you that were at Ashraf, and you know, I had a big job like Martin Kobler has a big job, but I was able to spread it out from Basra to Mosul and everything in between. But still, because I had over 3,000 people I was responsible for the protection of at Camp Ashraf, at least 3 to 4 days a week I was there, living there. And was I in a bunker behind T-walls? Those of you know, I was in a tent, and I stayed in a tent until I was ensured that all of my soldiers there were in containers. The people at Ashraf offered me a container vehicle to live in. I never lived in it. That tent was dusty and hot, but I was up there because you were there. That is where Martin Kobler needs to be right now, in Camp Liberty, with a rucksack and a blanket, and that's where he needs to be spending his nights. We'll see how many more rockets come in if he's there. Well, I've been on the receiving end of 107 millimeter rockets, and I know what destruction they can cause. But Kobler wouldn't have any idea behind those huge T-walls inside of the UN compound with the air conditioning and the big screen TVs and all of the drinks and food that they have there. I wonder what he does do all day. You know, I could demand right now that the residents be returned to their home at Camp Ashraf and at least have a chance at safety under a barrage of rockets, unlike the death camp at Liberty. But I know if I did demand it, Martin, you would turn a blind eye because your puppet masters would direct you to do so. So let me ask you this, since you're not down at Liberty living there, making sure of the safety and security, since you won't let them move to a safe and secure place, what is the timeline for the next attack? I know it's coming because you've shown you're afraid to go to that camp. Why are you so afraid to be there? What do you know that's going to take place next? Well, I know what should take place next, Martin Kobler. You should be charged with crimes against humanity. You set up a death camp. You're complicit in the premeditated murder of the individuals there that you are charged with their safety and security. Your actions are despicable. You know, through all of this, though, the Iranian resistance is alive and will remain alive and will bring freedom and democracy back to Iran. The mullah's regime directed those attacks, there's no doubt, against the resistance members because they fear what you stand for. They fear the Iranian resistance will succeed, which they will, in replacing the evil that now rules in Iran. And they'll replace it with a government of virtue and righteousness. The martyrs we mourn today had something the evil regime doesn't understand: faith. The members of the resistance have great faith, faith in knowing that their cause is just, and their faith in belief that men and women deserve freedom. Speaking of freedom, Martin, what happens if the people there at Liberty march to the front gate and want to go to the market down in Baghdad to buy some food? That's right, they'll be shot going out. What type of refugee camp is that? Well, my wife talked to me before I flew here, and she said something, and I want to repeat it. And she said, you know, just as a small candle lights an entire dark room, darkness and evil can't douse that light. The mullahs, the Iraqi and United Nations puppets, cannot douse your light of freedom, which you've championed in the Iranian resistance. You can kill individuals, but you can never kill what they stood for and the passion for which all of you are sacrificing. Madam Rajavi and all members of the resistance, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I am truly humbled because we promised them protection. Thank you.